Picture this. You open your electricity bill, sigh at the total, and your eyes land on a glossy flyer promising savings with rooftop solar panels. It feels like the universe is nudging you toward a solution, one that's supposed to be simple, smart, and green. Many people believe solar panels are a no-brainer. They promise lower bills, clean energy, and a chance to stick it to the utility company. The pitch is everywhere. Solar saves you money and helps the planet. Why wouldn't you install them? But the reality is more complicated than the sales pitch. The decision to install rooftop solar isn't just about saving money or being environmentally conscious. It's a mix of economic trade-offs, personal circumstances, and local factors that all shape whether solar makes sense for you. Today, we'll break down the real economics behind rooftop solar. We'll use everyday examples and real-life situations to show when solar panels are a smart investment and when they might not be the right move. By the end, you'll have the tools to look past the hype and make an informed decision about solar for your own home, based on your unique situation, not just what your neighbor or the flyer says. Let's start with the promise of solar, the story we all hear. Maybe you know someone who brags about having zero electricity bills. They show off their roof, talk about free energy from the sun, and seem to have unlocked a secret to beating rising utility costs. There's an emotional appeal to solar. It's not just about money, it's about independence, breaking free from unpredictable bills and feeling like you have control over your energy future. The idea of harnessing the sun's power feels empowering. Most people assume solar always saves money, is always good for the environment, and is a simple upgrade. The marketing makes it sound like a win-win, with little downside or complexity. But is it really that straightforward? Let's pause and ask, is solar truly the easy path to savings and sustainability? Or are there hidden details that could change the equation for you and your family? To answer that, we need to understand how solar panels actually work. At their core, solar panels convert sunlight into electricity for your home. When you produce more than you use, the extra power can often be sent back to the grid, a process called net metering. Think of it like growing your own vegetables. Some days, you have enough for dinner and even extra to share. Other days, you might not have enough and need to rely on the store. Your solar system's value depends on how much you use, when you use it, and what your utility pays for your surplus. The economics of solar are shaped by your household's energy habits. If you use most of your electricity during the day, when the sun is shining, you'll benefit more than someone who's away all day and uses power mainly at night. Net metering policies can make a big difference. In some places, utilities pay you almost the same rate for your extra power as they charge you. In others, the rate is much lower, which changes the payback math significantly. Now, let's talk about costs, the part that often gets glossed over. Imagine two neighbors. One pays cash upfront for their solar system, while the other finances it with a loan. Their experiences and their savings can look very different. The upfront costs of solar include more than just the panels. There's equipment, installation, permits, and sometimes upgrades to your electrical system. These expenses can add up quickly, and the sticker price is just the beginning. Hidden costs often catch people off guard. Roof repairs may be needed before installation, especially if your roof is older. Inverter replacements, routine cleaning, and increased insurance premiums can all add to the long-term expense. There's also the anxiety of making a big financial commitment. The fear of buyer's remorse is real, especially if the savings don't materialize as quickly as you hoped, or if unexpected costs pop up along the way. The true cost of solar is more than what you see in the quote. Maintenance, repairs, and even the cost of removing panels if you need a new roof later can all affect your bottom line. Let's look at payback, the time it takes for your solar investment to pay for itself through lower bills. This is where the differences between households really start to matter. Consider a family that's home during the day, running appliances and charging devices. They use most of their solar power as it's generated, maximizing their savings. Now compare that to a couple who works outside the home all day, using most of their electricity at night. Electricity usage patterns are crucial. If your peak usage matches when your panels are producing, you'll see faster payback. If not, your savings may be smaller, especially if your utility pays little for your excess power. Local electricity rates also play a big role. In areas with high rates, solar can pay back much faster. In places with cheap electricity, the savings may not justify the investment, especially when factoring in all the costs. Sunlight hours and roof orientation matter too. A south-facing roof in a sunny climate will generate more electricity than a shaded or north-facing roof in a cloudy region. These physical factors can make or break the economics of solar. Net metering policies vary widely. Some utilities are generous, while others have strict limits or lower rates for solar power you send back to the grid. This can lead to frustration if your neighbor in a different city gets a much better deal than you. It's common to feel envy when you see someone else's savings, only to discover that your own situation doesn't offer the same benefits. The reality is that solar pays back faster for some households than others, and it's not always fair or predictable. Now, let's talk about trade-offs, both economic and personal. The money you spend on solar could be invested elsewhere, like in home improvements or retirement savings. This is called opportunity cost, and it's an important part of the decision. Solar panels can affect your home's resale value, but the impact isn't always positive. Some buyers see solar as a plus, while others worry about maintenance or the complexity of taking over a lease or loan. There are also non-economic reasons to consider solar. For some, the environmental impact is a top priority. Reducing carbon emissions and relying less on fossil fuels can be a powerful motivation, even if the financial payback is slow. Energy independence is another factor. Some people value the idea of producing their own power and being less vulnerable to utility rate hikes or outages, even if it costs a bit more in the long run. Consider a retiree who wants predictable, lower bills and plans to stay in their home for years. For them, solar might be worth it, even if the payback is slow. Contrast that with a young family who might move in a few years. The investment may not make sense if they can't recoup the cost. There's often tension between doing the right things for the environment and making a sound financial decision. The right answer depends on your priorities, not just the numbers on a spreadsheet. The decision to install solar is as much about personal values and goals as it is about dollars and cents. What matters most to you, savings, sustainability, independence, or flexibility, will shape your answer. Where you live is a critical factor in the solar equation. Take two identical homes, one in sunny Arizona, the other in cloudy Seattle. The Arizona home will generate far more electricity, making solar much more attractive. Local incentives, rebates, and regulations can dramatically change the economics. Some states and cities offer generous tax credits or cash rebates, while others offer little or nothing. These incentives can shorten payback times or make solar unaffordable. Utility policies also matter. Some utilities are friendly to solar, offering easy interconnection and fair rates for your extra power. Others impose fees, limit how much you can send back to the grid, or change policies with little notice. It can be frustrating to discover that your neighbor across the state line gets better incentives or friendlier utility rules. The excitement of going solar can quickly turn to disappointment if your local policies aren't supportive. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to the solar question. Location, local rules, and even your utility company's attitude can make or break the economics of rooftop solar for your home. The future of solar is changing rapidly. Panel prices have fallen dramatically over the past decade, making solar more accessible. At the same time, policies and incentives are constantly shifting, and what's true today may not be true tomorrow. Battery storage is becoming more common, allowing homeowners to store excess solar power for use at night or during outages. This can increase your independence, but it also adds to the upfront cost and complexity. Some people wait for prices to drop or for better incentives, hoping to catch the perfect moment. Others jump in early, accepting the risks and rewards of being an early adopter. Timing can be a gamble, with no guaranteed best answer. The uncertainty of waiting versus acting now is real. Technology, prices, and policies are all moving targets. Deciding when to make your move is part of the challenge and the opportunity of going solar. Let's recap what we've learned. Solar isn't a universal win. Whether it makes sense depends on your usage, your roof, your finances, and your local policies. The right choice for one household may be wrong for another. Empowerment comes from understanding the trade-offs, not just following the crowd or believing the marketing. By asking the right questions, you can make a decision that fits your life, not just the latest trend. The economics of solar are personal and local, shaped by factors you can control and others you can't. The real value is in understanding the trade-offs, not just chasing the promise of savings or sustainability. Before you decide, consider the full picture, upfront and hidden costs, your energy usage, local incentives, and your own priorities. The smartest choice is the one that aligns with your goals and circumstances. Should you install solar panels? Only if the numbers and your priorities add up for you. The answer isn't universal, but with the right information, it can be clear for your unique situation. Let's dig deeper into the emotional side of the decision. The idea of being energy independent appeals to our desire for control and security, but the reality is that solar panels don't make you immune to all grid problems or rising rates. Some people feel pressure to go green because it's seen as the responsible thing to do. But the environmental benefits of solar depend on where your electricity comes from and how much energy you actually offset. Solar panels can reduce your carbon footprint, but the manufacturing, transport, and disposal of panels also have environmental impacts. The net benefit varies depending on local energy sources and how long your system lasts. Maintenance is another often overlooked factor. Panels are low maintenance, but not maintenance-free. Cleaning, monitoring, and occasional repairs add to the long-term commitment of owning a solar system. Roof condition matters more than many realize. Installing panels on an old or damaged roof can lead to expensive headaches later. Sometimes, a roof replacement is needed before solar can even be considered. Insurance premiums can increase after installing solar panels. Some insurers require additional coverage, which adds to your ongoing costs. It's important to factor this in when calculating your potential savings. Solar loans and leases come with their own risks and rewards. Loans can offer ownership and long-term savings, but require good credit and upfront commitment. Leases may offer lower upfront costs, but often mean less control and smaller savings. Home resale can get complicated with solar. Some buyers see panels as a bonus, while others worry about taking over a lease or dealing with unfamiliar technology. The impact on your home's value depends on local market attitudes. Solar can provide backup power during outages, but only if paired with battery storage. Without batteries, most grid-tied systems shut down during outages for safety reasons. This surprises many new solar owners. Community solar programs offer an alternative for those who can't install panels. These programs let you buy a share of a larger solar project and receive credits on your bill, expanding access to solar benefits. Solar's impact on your finances is long-term. The initial investment may take years to pay back, and your savings depend on stable policies and utility rates. Sudden changes can affect your expected returns. Some homeowners experience solar regret if their system doesn't meet expectations. This can happen due to overestimated savings, unexpected costs, or changing circumstances like moving sooner than planned. On the flip side, some find unexpected satisfaction in producing their own power, even if the financial return is modest. The sense of contributing to a cleaner grid or being less dependent on utilities can be rewarding. Solar is not a set-it-and-forget-it solution. Monitoring system performance, dealing with occasional repairs, and keeping up with policy changes require ongoing attention and engagement. The decision to install solar is ultimately about trade-offs. It's a balance between financial risk, environmental benefit, personal values, and the unpredictability of future energy markets. The old belief that solar is always a smart move leaves out the complexity of real life. It ignores the hidden costs, the local differences, and the personal circumstances that shape every homeowner's experience. The smarter question is not just, will solar save me money, but does solar fit my life, my finances, and my priorities? It's about matching the technology to your unique situation, not just following a trend. The emotional conclusion is this: solar can be empowering, but only when you understand what you're getting into. The real win is making a choice that reflects your needs, not just your hopes or your neighbor's story. In the end, the economics of solar are as personal as your home and your habits. The real mistake isn't passing on solar. The real mistake is making a major financial decision because everyone else told you it was the obvious choice.